What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Benchwarmer Sports. I'm trying a little bit something different with the background here. So if you guys like what I'm doing with the background, let me know in the comments section down below. We got a light in the back here. I think that's pretty freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie. Trying some different things with the background, trying to spruce some things up as we go on into 2025. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Do you guys like this setup, or do you guys want me to go back to my old setup? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But let's get into the big story of the day, because I said yesterday I was thinking that, you know what, Brown season is over. I didn't need to talk about the Browns for another couple of months. We didn't need to be bogged down in the Deshaun Watson narrative. We didn't have to be bogged down in the narrative with Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski for another couple of months. But my God, did stuff happen today with Andrew Berry's end of the year presser? Because as you guys see by the title at the bottom of the screen, Deshaun Watson, the breaking news of the day, Andrew Berry released it, broke the news that Deshaun Watson has supposedly suffered a setback with his Achilles tear rehab. We don't know how severe the rehab or not. We don't know how severe the setback is. Of course, Andrew Berry being Andrew Berry, he would not go into specific details about how severe the setback is. Is Deshaun going to need surgery to either, clean up whatever is bugging him, or is he going to need surgery to repair the Achilles again? We have no idea. We have no idea the severity of the quote unquote setback. We have no idea as to what the doctors are recommending Deshaun do, or what they have to do for Deshaun Watson. We have no idea. But what this did tell us is that Deshaun Watson is probably not going to play for the Cleveland Browns in 2025. We weren't expecting him to play in 2025, but this 100% shows that Deshaun Watson is most likely not going to touch the field at all for the Cleveland Browns in 2025, regardless of what happens in the quarterback room going forward. But this ultimately shows that Deshaun Watson's career with the Cleveland Browns is most likely done. It was probably, I want to say, 97% of the way there that he was probably going to not play for the Cleveland Browns. This just pushes it over to 100%. He's not going to play for the Cleveland Browns whatsoever ever again. It's done. It's finito. It's complete. Deshaun Watson is not going to play for the Cleveland Browns, and quite frankly, I think his NFL career is over at this point. If I'm an NFL team, I don't know, after what you saw for the last 3 years, after the entire PR debacle that has been Deshaun Watson since he left Houston, the many dozens of accusations against him, um, and just overall his on the field performance for the Cleveland Browns, outside of very few and far between glimpses of what Deshaun Watson could do in the past, he's not. I think his NFL career is over. But what this does for the Cleveland Browns and how this relates to the Cleveland Browns is that this actually is a huge positive for the Cleveland Browns. Not just because Deshaun Watson is never going to touch the field again for the Cleveland Browns. That's a whole other thing. The main thing for the Cleveland Browns and why this is positive for the Cleveland Browns is, one, this forces them to create more of a QB, like gets them more involved in trying to get a new viable quarterback option for not just next year, but for the future, okay? Because Deshaun Watson's cap hit was going to hinder what the Browns could do regarding, trying to bring in a free agent quarterback, maybe even trading for a quarterback, which I don't think is going to happen. But maybe after this news, you probably would have to ponder it. But although I think it's very unlikely. But what this does do for the Browns is Deshaun Watson has a $44.3 million cap hit. I think that's correct. I think it's $44 million, $43 million. But that part of his salary that was going to go against the cap actually is insured for the Browns. So they're going to get that money back. They're going to get $43 to $44 million back because that part of Watson's salary is insured in case of injury. So if Deshaun Watson is not able to, let's say, play a down in 2025, if doctors go to Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski and say, hey, Deshaun Watson's not going to play next year. He's not going to be able to play next year. His rehab, basically, we're going to have to start all the way back at step one. He's not going to play for another 18 months. So if that's the case, Browns can pay Deshaun Watson $44 million, but they also get that money back. You're going to have to. I mean, I'm not the cap expert. I would much rather you guys go to Jack Duffin. He's the guy that every single Browns fan, every single Browns media person knows that he is the guy to talk to and to look at what regarding the Browns cap situation. He'll have more details on that, but the Browns essentially will have $43 to $44 million guaranteed, you know, of cap that is going to be created because of this Deshaun Watson injury if he's not able to go onto the field in 2025, which is very good news because if the Browns are going in the direction that I think everyone is thinking that they're going in, is they're not going with a rebuild, okay? But if you're going to take a quarterback at number two, which I personally do not support, I don't think they should take either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders at number two. I am team trade back all the way, unless you really like Abdul Carter and you want to try and trade a second or a third round pick, whatever you want. But I am team trade back in this draft. I am not a believer in any of the quarterbacks in the first round at least. But if you want to get a quarterback in the second pick, let's say, I think this Watson thing completely changes the perspective of what the Browns, are looking at regarding this QB room, because you would think you would have a spot reserved for Watson, whether he's the third quarterback, he's the emergency quarterback, and you bring in a guy like Kirk Cousins who, with all reports that have been coming out recently, is that the Falcons may not want to trade him at all. They actually kind of want to keep him as a backup quarterback to Michael Penix, which, if that's the case, then the Kirk Cousins card is going to be off the table. So then the Browns are kind of in a pickle, which I would kind of, support. Maybe looking at Justin Fields from the Steelers may not be a popular opinion, but I actually would think that the Browns could do pretty well with a guy like Justin Fields, and having Kevin Stefanski's offense. I think it would kind of take a lot of the burden and a lot of the pressure off of Justin Fields. Like, he had all the pressure on him in Chicago, where he was essentially the only guy on offense for the Bears doing literally anything for that team. If you can get Justin Fields in here on like a 1 to 2 year deal, very like small amounts of money, you want to get him in here and then draft. Like, if you do want to go with the route of drafting, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or any of these top guys, quote unquote top guys like Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, Will Howard, any of these guys who are coming out this year, I would strongly support going after Justin Fields for a year or two, have the guy you're going to draft in this year's draft sit behind them, and then you bring in a guy like, maybe you bring in Josh McCown from Minnesota, who legitimately has helped revitalize Sam Darnold's career in Minnesota as the quarterback's coach up there. I mean, I think that is a recipe for success for the Cleveland Browns right there. But what this does for Deshaun Watson, like I said, I think Deshaun Watson's career is probably over. He's not coming back to the Cleveland Browns. If I'm the Browns, I don't even care what the doctor says. If he's going to take more than 12 months, regarding the setback, if we still got to figure out how severe it is. I mean, Deshaun Watson and his doctors are the only people that probably know how severe the setback is. I don't know if Andrew Berry knows. I don't know if Kevin Stefanski knows how severe the setback is with Deshaun Watson's injury. But I hate to say it, you're almost kind of, I don't want to say wishing, but it sucks to say this because you don't want to say it about a person. It's a human being. But if he's not able to go, you're kind of hoping he's not able to play in 2025. You weren't hoping he was going to play in general in 2025. You weren't hoping he was going to touch the field ever again for the Cleveland Browns. But just because of an injury and a setback of an injury, it kind of, I don't know, for me, kind of muddies it. It kind of makes me feel like very, very icky to say that about a person. But you're kind of hoping he's not going to play, he's not able to play in 2025 because then if the Browns put him on that PUP list, they get all that money insured because of the injury clause in his contract. I mean, it opens you up for a lot of possibilities regarding free agency because, once again, Myles Garrett does not want to go through a rebuild. Joel Bitonio does not want to go through a rebuild. Denzel Ward does not want to go through a rebuild. Janet Conklin does not want to go through a rebuild. So if you're going to get $44 million to the cap, it's not going to be, you're not, that cap hit is not going to be as severe as what it could have been before this injury. Then maybe the Browns go more hyper aggressive this offseason. Now, we had reports that they were going to be very aggressive this offseason. But if this is the case and they get the $44 million insured, then I think they get really aggressive. And that's where you start opening doors and possibilities. Maybe you go after a guy like T. Higgins. Maybe you go after other guys, other high-end talent that's going, to be free agents this offseason. So I think this opens a lot of doors and a lot of possibilities for the Cleveland Browns. But the key caveat is, how severe is this setback for Deshaun Watson? And does this, is he not able to perform in 2025? Is he not going to be able to be active at all in 2025? Because if that is the case, and they have to say, by training camp or by even preseason, they say, hey, he's not going to be able to play this season, well, then you're going to get $44 million. I mean, you're going to be able to do a lot with that money. But we won't know for another couple of months. I don't think we're going to have a lot of answers like anytime soon about how severe this is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we get a couple of answers, in the next couple of weeks. I have no idea. But that's where I'm at with this situation. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think. Very interested to see what you guys think down in the comments section below. I've been trying to look at Twitter while I've been at work and try and see what Browns fans are feeling, what some of the sports media people have been saying around Cleveland. I think everyone's in agreement that it sucks to say it because it's a person, but this was kind of the best case scenario for the Cleveland Browns, and it sucks to say that. It sounds very shitty to say that because it is a person, but if you're thinking about for the Cleveland Browns and their prospective future and like trying to be competitive in the future, this was probably good. Like I said, I hate saying it because it makes me feel bad, but it's probably good news for the Browns that he may not be able to play it because you get the money back. But anyways, like I said, I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. That's going to be it for this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, or if you guys know anyone who hasn't subscribed to this channel and they like Cleveland sports or just sports in general, tell them to subscribe to this channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And once again, guys, let me know what you guys think of the new background. Do you guys like this background? Do you like this setup? Or do you guys want me to go back to the old setup? I'd like to know that down in the comment section below. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys all in another video. Take care.